You are the faceless one, but quite honestly it matters not. Here there are 7 deities of Polygod which will test you until you beg for mercy. Either that or you come out the other end to become the holy champion, seeing as you're already the legendary one-armed faceless one. I'm not sure how the character is a legend, as there isn't much of a backstory, except for a few NPCs that make vague comments when you speak to them. Let's just say there wasn't much really to draw you in. Enough of that though, let's check out the gameplay and see if it's worth your hard-earned readies. So this is a low polygon FPS roguelike which has randomly generated levels and can be played single player, versus, and in co-op mode, but more on those modes later. There is also a daily spawn dungeon if you fancy giving that a go, and I know some of you may be tired of these types of roguelike games. If you love games like Binding of Isaac though, then this is something similar in terms of the systems used, in how the buffs are able to stack. There are seeds also for the levels that you really like that you can jot down and replay again later. Now for me, losing all of my progress always feels like a kick in the balls, I'm not going to lie to you, but there is always something that keeps me coming back for more. I always ask why that is, because it's not like I'm making progress, or am I? You see, when people say they don't make progress in these games, I believe you are making progress. You see, with each death you learn something new about your skills. With each weapon you pick up and combinations you stack together, you learn something new about what works and what doesn't work so well. Each time your mind is making decisions and picking up on subtle things that will help you in your next run and in your next one, so on and so forth, until you get good enough, skilled enough, and learning the right strategies to take down, ultimately, the trial of the gods. Now let me tell you, this isn't an easy task. You'll be pushed to the limit with a boss at the end of each level, of which there are 7. Each level when you start again is random, along with the enemies and their positions, but you get to know the enemies quite quickly and their patterns after a few playthroughs. Honestly, I think it took me though about 2 hours to get past level 1, and then when you get absolutely smashed on level 2, I felt like breaking my Switch in half. This is where Juan needed a break from the trial of the gods, because I'm not a god, I'm just a mere mortal. In each area there are 5 altars of worship, each offering you blessings or buffs in exchange for souls you have collected from your fallen foes. Now blessings are stackable and give your gun a unique effect, but there is a downside. Each time you combine a blessing, you'll see that there is something else that gives you a disadvantage. So you need to make sure you choose the ones that are suited to your playstyle and combine well together. I preferred buffs that made my weapon fire quickly, for example. And now there are loads of combinations. Let me rephrase that. There's possibly almost infinite amounts of combinations. I mean, no 2 builds I put together were ever the same, so there's plenty to learn. Each run, even though random, feels the same, such as the lack in variety of the enemies. There is the ability to speed run to the boss if you like, but then you're not going to be sufficiently upgraded to take it down. Now, I like to go through the levels slowly, picking off each enemy, making sure I buffed up enough to take down the boss at the end. Now our one-armed hero feels nice and tight to control. We can jump and run, shooting feels substantial, and the game feels fun, but it really does hurt you when you perish and die over and over again. Some of you will jump straight back in, others will have to wait and cool off before their next go, especially if you've reached quite far only for you to perish. So this one for me, I liked to play in between other games in quick bursts. Now in our last review of Dead Cells, Jordan asked what you guys prefer, roguelites or roguelikes, and a whopping 87% of you said roguelites. So that means that there's some progression that you could take with you with each death. Not many of you liked the whole permadeath situation and not being able to take any sort of progression with you, which is understandable. Now for me, there are many roguelikes already to choose from, and the market is quite saturated with them. Each has their own quirks and systems differ slightly, but in essence most of them are similar. Now for those of you that don't like the thought of starting again, this isn't really going to change your mind, and for those that love this type of genre, then it might be for you, but I can't help feeling this could have been a lot better than it is. While the shooting, jumping and running around all feels pretty good, it gets rather repetitive quickly. Bosses are not that fun to fight either. You're basically against a bullet sponge in my eyes, and most of the time you'll probably end up dead if your loadout isn't right. I will say this, I hated dying and starting again, and the game is really difficult. It's also quite tough to discern what the enemies which ones are enemies and which are not, because some of the NPCs mix with the enemies in some levels and it's hard to discern which is which. There are different strategies you can use, like going above the level and seeing everything from a good vantage point. The problem is that you'll often fall and lose a bit of your health bar. It's not the best game I've ever played, but I don't know, there is something about it that just kept me coming back for that one more go situation. I think I must be a glutton for punishment. I don't like any game getting the better of me, although I think this one ultimately will. Now locally you can play with a friend in co-op, and that worked quite well, was quite fun. What didn't work so well though was versus mode. Here you just have to kill each other, which is cool, but when respawning, often the other player wouldn't respawn, the game would crash, I'd have to reload it again, and the loading times on these modes are truly quite long. In terms of audio then, the audio here is nothing special. I would say it's below average at best in the design department, and to be fair, it's not the end of the world. I mean, this is an indie game after all, but I just feel that for the price, the sound design could have been a lot better. It does sound okay, it's not going to kill the game. The musical track changes when enemies do come into view to let you know that there is a battle going on, but then everything gets really rather quiet. Visually, the game is a low polygon affair. While it looks okay, it's never been a graphical style that I really like. For my taste, it's just a little bit too simplistic, and while there are some nice effects here and there and bullet effects, the levels look okay, it just never screams impressive to me. And if you're going to do a game like this with a low sort of polygon graphical type game, then it needs to run buttery smooth, and unfortunately I ran into quite a bit of slowdown in every single mode. It's not all the time, but you know, it does happen, and unfortunately this isn't a game that I would say is pushing the Switch to its limits. I just felt that it was poorly optimized, which is a shame. In terms of value then, for 15 bucks or $11.99, you're going to be kept occupied for a while if you like shooting things over and over again. The addiction comes from collecting souls so you can upgrade your weapons and buffs and try to make a build which ultimately is going to get you far into the game. You have multiplayer here, which I've already mentioned, and there are some characters to unlock throughout the game also. Some of you may like the seeding option, so you can play the levels that you love and share those seeds with your friends. In terms of my verdict then, Polygod is another roguelike on the Nintendo Switch, and we have a good amount of those to choose from. This one is a fun FPS for a little while, albeit with a brutal difficulty which will get you frustrated, and for me it loses a lot of its fun factor rather too quickly due to that. If you lack patience, then stay clear of this, and I mean stay well clear. If you don't like losing all progress and starting again on games and feel it's a waste of your time, it's not going to be for you either. This game then is for people who are a glutton for punishment. They like games which are roguelikes, which gives you a different random run every time and an infinite amount of weapon loadouts. This might be the game that you're looking for. Polygod then is a game the gods would find difficult, let alone us mere mortals. Taking all of that into consideration then, this one for me, a 5.5 out of 10. Let me know what your thoughts are on this one down below in the comment section. I'll do my best to reply. If you enjoyed this review, then please hit that thumbs up button. It really means the world to us here at SwitchWatch. And lastly, if you're a new watcher, then consider subscribing for all things reviews, gameplays, and everything Nintendo Switch related. For all of you guys that stick with us, watch video after video after video, and comment on all of our videos, thank you so much. You know it means the world to us. My name is Juan from SwitchWatch, guys, and of course I'll see you again on the next one.